Guntersville. If he was fishing, what's going on, what patterns, and what would be working today if he was fishing. So what's kind of going on?
I think one thing that whenever you have a warming trend, it's really important to understand that a lot of these fish are moving up in the backs of these pockets, the backs of these creeks. And guys, that when it's really cold outside, I like to stay really close to that deep water. But as soon as you have a few days of that warm 60, 70 degree weather, these guys are starting to really catch them in the backs of these creeks, very far back. If you look on the Bass Track right now, which is an awesome feature that Bassmaster has, you can actually look where these guys are fishing and sort of understand what's going on. Now, I think the first day of the tournament, because we didn't have so many warm days prior to, these guys might have been catching them off those mud lines or catching them because of the rain. They're catching them further out in the creeks. And now, with that water warming up, these fish are actually moving up on top of these flats. They were always there, but actually moving up on top of these flats, getting around the dead grass stems and these harder bottoms because they're going to warm up quicker. That's one thing. I mean, it's always something looking in the springtime. It's all about being around some sort of cover, and the dead grass seems like it's a killer this time of year.
Yeah, that's what we've been seeing. I mean, I have some friends in our college group that came down here driving around watching guys, and they're getting more guys moving back up into the creeks, fishing around that grass. I was actually just talking to Fred Bassmaster yesterday backstage, and he was talking about how he's starting to see some of the big fish up in that shallow, dead grass with hard bottom. Those fish are coming up and spawning. I guess if you were going out there today, what are two techniques, I guess, that you would be, the first things you'd pick up on the deck?
This time of year, you have to have moving baits. The thing is, it seems like to me, guys, you can't catch them on jig. I'm a guy that likes to move around, and if there's 5 bass in the lake that are active, that's the 5 bass I want. You can sit there, and sometimes a jig will catch big fish, but I'm just one of those guys that I believe, Rick Lund told me a long time ago, that biggins will always bite something winding. And for me, that's moving as quickly as I can and covering as much water as I possibly can to get that reaction strike. Sometimes you lose those fish, but my two baits this time of year would have to be probably, especially on Guntersville. I mean, Olympus crankbait's huge. I really like a Storm Rockin' Shad, probably a 3/4 ounce to a 1/2 ounce. They have a 5/8 also, but I really like to throw that bait around. A lot of that shallow grass, and probably my last would probably be a chatterbait, especially if there's water warming up, or either a chatterbait or a swim jig, depending on how those fish are being pressured or not, and how dirty that water is. I really like a black blade on my chatterbait, black blue skirt, probably set up with either a trigger slop hopper. It's going to be perfect for getting around that grass and really being able to work through all that stuff. And that's really what it's about, just getting something that's moving and covering a lot of water this time of year, getting this big fish to bite.
Yeah, well, backstage I was talking to a few guys, and they see the swim jig, and then kind of the swim bait has been working out there as well. I guess if you're throwing a swim bait, something maybe like the slop hopper on a jig head or something like that, what would you be throwing if you were tossing out a specific swim bait? What would you approach it, and kind of what bait would you be using?
For a swim bait?
Yeah, the swim bait small, 4 or 5
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple different things. One thing that I really felt like this tournament was going to be won on before this thing even started. One thing about Guntersville, if you guys have fished it, it's these fish use bridges huge here. This is where they stage. They have a lot of the really good creek channels and ditches and everything else, but on a lot of these major creeks, they pull up about these bridges are halfway back in the creek, and they'll set up, they'll move into these creeks off the main river channel, and they'll stage right there on those bridges. And these fish are constantly moving in and moving out and moving in. And if that water is staying clear, I really felt like this tournament was going to set up. If it was going to stay clear, it was going to stay somewhat cold. There's not a lot of deep water in the backs of those creeks. Once you pass the bridge, it's fairly shallow. And so that's where they're going to, the deep waters are home of the fish, and those fish are going to stage up there. I felt like that big 5.5-inch slop hopper with about a 1/2 ounce to a 3/4 ounce head, you couldn't go wrong with that thing. Just slow rolling that thing on those bridge pilings and stuff. That's something that these fish see a lot of A-rigs out here. And obviously in Bassmaster you can't throw an A-rig, but I've seen it a lot after the A-rig came out. So many people are fishing it that picking up a single swim bait in those same areas that those fish are eating that A-rig, you'll actually get more bites and bigger bites on a single swim bait because those fish have seen so many big A-rigs.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned bridges, because I actually just on Twitter posted a picture for my friends. They're actually on a bridge watching Brandon Pollock right now, out there fishing. Yeah, he's actually fishing a bridge. I don't know exactly where, probably by our rental house somewhere, but he's fishing a bridge. He's been there for 20, 30 minutes, and apparently he has a good bag so far today.
Yeah,
so,
I heard Randy Howe, I heard from Bass Track, he has like over 25 pounds or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
he was on a bridge also, wasn't he?
Yeah, or the bridge, or the riprap along the bridges. Yeah. We've seen a lot of guys down there. I've been at the show, but all my teammates have been driving around watching guys, and a lot of guys are fishing those bridges right now. They're moving up on the rocks, catching those fish that are up shallow or feeding that weren't there, 3-4 days ago with the colder weather.
They start moving up on top of those rocks. It's probably one of my favorite ways to catch them. Get up on top of that cranking. One thing about shallow cranking that people mess up a lot of times. I see them out there, and they'll get out there on the bank, and they'll get 40 foot off the bank, and they'll go up there and they'll cast out there, hit the bank, and they'll start cranking their crankbait. Their crankbait only goes 3 feet deep. Say you're throwing a Rasher Square 3 or even a Rasher Square 5, you got to get up on that bank. I want to be up there where I'm only, now if you got your buddy in the back of the boat, he might be a little bit mad if you do this. But this is what you got to do to catch them. Say, look, I don't care if you get right here. I fish a lot of little tournaments back home. This is what I used to do all the time. And I'd have a transition of about 15 to 20 rock banks. And I'd have my buddy Greg, and he'd get up here and we'd both be standing together, we'd fish this tournament, so we'd just parallel the crankbait down these rocks. And you feel that Rasher Square 3, you're always bumping that bottom and deflecting off of something. That's what's going to trigger those fish to bite, and especially with this warm weather. Like you said, these fish are getting up on top of those rocks, and they're chomping. They're looking for crawdads, they're looking for shad. They're trying to feed up right before they move back and start to spawn. And I bet you, in Guntersville, believe it or not, you can't see a lot of them right now, but I bet you there's a few trying to do their thing.
Yeah, I was actually being backstage yesterday. You saw actually a few fish come in that were snakes. I wouldn't doubt it with how warm it's going to be in right now, and it was a little cold snap, but it's been fairly warm from what I've heard.
It really has. The thing, I saw some of those big fish. The thing is that I've talked to him quite a bit about the lake, and one thing he was telling me is he feels like on Guntersville these fish spawn earlier than anybody ever thinks they ever would. He's like, he remembers a time when it was snowing, it was like 45 degrees, and he's like, he pulled up to a stump, he looks down there, he says there's a 7-pounder up there spawning, and 45 degree weather, or 45 degree water. And it is crazy because these big ones, we think that is a prime time is 62 degrees, 63 degrees, and you get that full moon, that big wave's gonna move in. But them big ones, they don't go by the book all the time. Yeah. They don't.
They definitely know how to do it. Being from Washington State, our water's frozen right now, for y'all who don't know. So I can't even go fishing unless I want to dig a hole in the ice. But we definitely see that same thing up there with fish spawning, those big fish spawning earlier, and finding that warm water that's maybe just a degree or two warmer, but it's still really cold, but they're getting in and spawning earlier than the rest. So we haven't seen, I don't think, really many fish come in from this tournament, but definitely looking forward if you're fishing a tournament, coming up here in the next 3 weeks or so in Guntersville. So let's move in, I guess, to more, we got the speakers on top. Everybody talks over everyone else here. I guess for this tournament, we see a lot of guys spread out all throughout the lake. What area, from who you've talked to, you can see on Bass Track where these guys are located at. Where, do you know where those guys, those main top guys are kind of fishing right now?
I haven't really looked at the Bass Track from all the things, but obviously North Saudi, I think it was South Saudi, Randall's fishing down in South Saudi. At least he started there this morning, but one thing, I talked to Randall before the tournament, and Randall's on absolute roll. He's not leading the tournament right now. He's 1 ounce out of the lead, and that guy is reeking with confidence. You just get around him and you're like, whoa. He just knows he feels like he can go out there and catch him. And he said prior to the tournament, he said he's never been so confident in a tournament in his life.
Yeah, I just talked to Peter Robbins, who's another writer, and he was saying it was eerie how calm Randall Tharp is in the biggest of pressure, the biggest moment. He is the calmest individual, and that's what it takes to win.
It is. The best of the best can just be calm in any situation. When you have a lot of pressure on the line, you see those guys out there that get spun out, and that's what kills you in bass fishing. You lose a couple big fish in a tournament like this, it can mess with your mind, and you're going to be done for the rest of the day. So, keeping a level head and not getting too high when you're in those highs, and don't get too low when you lose those fish, has been the biggest part of any professional fisherman's career.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. You have guys that are right there close to, only a few pounds back. They're in 5th, 6th place, and I really think of that head head game, once you start getting in that top, you know, if you're within striking distance, that head game, guys like Van Dam, I mean, Polnick's done it a couple times where he's blow out the field, you know, doing something completely different, something nobody would even dare to do. Definitely that head game seems like it's definitely a part of winning, jumping from that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place to get to that number 1.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the craziest thing about Guntersville is, and this is the coolest thing about this classic. Obviously, it's one of the best fisheries in the world, hands down. But if you look at, was it Paul Mueller that caught that 32 pounds?
Yep.
I mean, anybody can win this thing in the top 10 right now. Anybody can. You catch a 32-pound bag, Randall comes in with 22, or even you come, you know, you can smoke it, come back 8 pounds, it's not a big deal. So that's the craziest thing about this fishery is anyone can win it. You might be, you know, there might be a few guys, yeah, they have a little bit better chance, but hey, 32 pounds happened yesterday, it could happen today, and a guy can win, come all the way back and win this thing.
Yeah, that's what I know Brandon's shooting for right now. Like I talked to him yesterday, and it was definitely a, hey, I'm 10 pounds back, I need 32 pounds tomorrow, and that's what I'm shooting for. And then he went straight back to his work.
Exactly. You have to do that. You have to focus. I mean, I think there's so many people that get out there and they look at their weight and they get discouraged. But you have to get out there and you do whatever you possibly can to make it happen. And you fish. It's hard to see. If everybody talks this thing, oh, I'm going to swing for the fence. I'm going to swing for the fence. But, you know, there is a way you could do that. And I think some people say, you know, that's garbage. But there is ways to actually try to target those big fish and really try to understand what's going on and really try to target using bigger baits and trying to get this fish something that moves a little bit more water and trying to get those big ones to bite.
Perfect. Well, you know, now we're going to talk a little about Guntersville. If y'all don't know, he was the FLW Cup champion. I guess to finish off this, I guess what is one thing that you maybe learned or grew as an angler by winning that championship? What was one thing, I guess, that you learned as an angler, you know, maybe personally or on the water through that whole experience of winning that?
I mean, I think the craziest thing is when you're in a classic situation or in the FLW Cup, and you're leading an event. It's something that you just have to block everything else out of your way and go fishing. And one thing that I've learned a lot since I've been fishing professionally is I see so many guys get spun out on what other guys are doing. They get caught up. Well, what's David Dudley doing? Is he catching them? Is this guy doing? What is this guy doing? And it messes you up. And you have to be your own angler. You go out there, you need to focus on what you really like to do, and you have to fish to your strengths. You know, I like fishing deep sometimes, but my favorite thing is to fish 6 inches deep to a foot. If they're there, I'm smiling, I'm grinning, I'm ready to go. And that's what I look for. You know, sometimes the conditions don't set up for that. But, you know, one thing that I have learned is fish to your strengths. And a lot of these lakes that we fish professional events on, you really can do that. You really can fish your strengths and go do what you like to do. Now, of course, you have to be versatile and being able to know, hey, look, this tournament is going to be dominated by drop shotters. So you have to go out there and be drop shot with everybody else, and you have to do that. If you can't find something different, you might have to do that. But it's always something off the wall, and always do something that you enjoy doing, because it seems like 90% of the time it's the tournaments you win.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Well, everyone, I know we're running a little late past your time there. We got our good 15 minutes. I hope y'all enjoyed us. I'm going to do a little bass trivia right after this, give you guys some free prizes. But everyone, thank Jacob Wheeler for being here and coming and talking to us.
Thanks a lot for coming out, guys.